USC has defeated Colorado 55-17. It's time to empty the notebook. The Trojans earned their 9th win of the season on Friday and their 16th overall against the Buffaloes. USC's 9-1 start to the season is the program's best since the 2008 team, which ultimately finished 12-1 with a Rose Bowl win over Penn State. Lincoln Riley's record so far is the best for a first-year head coach since John Robinson was also 9-1 after 10 games in the 1976 season. Though USC's offense didn't get off to a fast start early on, quarterback Caleb Williams and company eventually found their stride, scoring 55 points, the team's second highest point total this season. USC has now scored at least 40 points in 4 consecutive games and 8 of its 10 games so far. Earlier in the week, Lincoln Riley described Caleb Williams as one of the most valuable players in college football, and the quarterback continued to demonstrate why on Friday. He finished 14-26 for 268 yards with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Williams also got it done on the ground with 2 rushing touchdowns in the second quarter. He's now tied with Matt Leinart for most rushing scores by a quarterback since 1966. In addition, Williams is the first USC quarterback to have 2 games with multiple rushing touchdowns in the same season, since complete records were first available for this specific stat in 1972. While the Trojans did come away with a win on Friday night, they did suffer a massive loss. Running back Travis Dye has played his final down as a Trojan, according to head coach Lincoln Riley. The redshirt senior was carted off the field in the second quarter and returned with a cast on his right leg. Riley said Dye's injury is serious enough to finish his collegiate career, but not serious enough to hurt his career at the next level. Dye finished his Trojan career with 8 consecutive games with a touchdown. He's in good company, as the last Trojan to do so was Marcus Allen in 1981. Redshirt senior Austin Jones filled in for Dye Friday night and finished with 74 yards on 11 carries and 39 yards on 4 receptions with a touchdown. He dedicated his touchdown to his fellow teammate, putting up the numbers 2 and 6 with his fingers in the end zone. Tuli Tuipulotu came into Friday night's game as the nation's leader in sacks and only continued his dominance against Colorado. He recorded 2.5 sacks, 3 tackles, and a forced fumble on the night. Tuipulotu now has 11.5 sacks this season, which are the most in a single season by a Trojan since Morgan Breslin recorded 13 in 2012. Overall, USC's defense took a step forward Friday night, allowing its opponent season lows in both passing yards and total yards. The Trojans recorded their first safety since 2019 after Colorado quarterback JT Shrout was called for an intentional grounding in the first quarter. USC's defense came up with 2 takeaways thanks to the aforementioned fumble recovery and an interception by Kalen Bullock. He's now the Trojans' season leader in interceptions with 4. Now I just need to make a quick note about some of the oddities that occurred in this game. USC's first offensive drive was put on hold thanks to a delay in game due to an unauthorized drone flying over the Coliseum. The first quarter also ended in a unique 3-2 score, and finally, the Trojans pulled some trickeration with a 2-point conversion that was highlighted by USC's holder Will Rose backflipping in the end zone. Obviously, there were some unique moments that were fit for a unique Friday game. Now, I know I already touched on this subject, but I feel the need to end tonight's segment with a final word on Travis Dye. It's just been incredible to watch someone who was already successful at another school in the same conference endear himself so quickly to a fan base like Travis Dye did with USC fans. By all accounts, Dye has been a tremendous teammate both on and off the field, and you could see the heart and effort he played with on every down. Head coach Lincoln Riley credited the running back for his help in changing the program's culture, saying, quote, "There's no way we would be sitting here where we are as a football team without him." And if you were looking for a moment that displayed the impact Travis Dye's had on USC's football program, look no further than his final moment on the Coliseum field in full Cardinal gold uniform. Before the running back was carted off, the entire team surrounded him to send their well wishes, and as Dye was being carted past the field and up the tunnel, the Trojan faithful gave him a standing ovation with loud cheers of appreciation. Though it was a tragic scene, it was a fitting send-off for someone who so quickly made his mark on USC's football program. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Emptying the Notebook. It's officially rivalry week, so stay tuned for all the coverage here on USCTrojans.com.